Now you're done. I'm doing.
Would everybody please rise and join me in the pledge? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, would you call the roll?
Patrick.
Here.
Bruner.
Here.
Ellis.
Here.
Farnham.
Here.
Lawton.
Here.
McCarty.
Here.
Voigt.
Here. Next, we come to the portion of public comment. We'll ask that you identify yourselves. If you have a comment to make to the board, and restrict it to 5 minutes. Or is there any public comments this morning, please? None? Okay. We'll move on along to 6 and 7 so that we'll get Aaron out of the way. Aaron, you have the floor for your resolutions.
We have two projects on this next fiscal year. One's a July letting and one's a January letting. We lost Jimmy last Thursday, the guy that puts the plans together. In an attempt to still make the two deadlines, we have put before you an agreement with Cummins Engineering, who's doing the phase 1 for the top 3. And we're gonna ask Cummins to quickly assimilate to where we're at, and to try to still get both of these projects in the next fiscal year. So you have two resolutions to vote on.
Here.
The first one is 22-00137 on item number 6. That will be the top 3 miles that we're trying to take to a July letting. And I'm asking the board to approve Cummins Engineering to pick up they're doing the phase 1 already, but to pick up the phase 2, which is the actual design, which is pretty much done, and take this thing to letting. We're on a very, very tight time frame with that one. Everything's due now. So the top 3, section 22-00137, a professional service agreement using motor fuel tax, form BLR 5530, to pay Cummins to finish that project. Any questions on the top 3 miles for the July letting?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Carl moves, Andy seconds. All those in favor? Oh, sorry. Roll call, please.
Patrick.
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnham.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
McCarty.
Yes.
Aaron?
Okay, the next item is for section, it's number 7. It's for section 25-0014200. That's the bottom 3. That's a January letting, which is still the same fiscal year, which they're putting the final programming together right now. So we want to take the bottom 3 miles, which starts there at Elbridge and goes down to the state line, and put 1.5 inches on it. Again, the plans are pretty much done. It's a LAFO, which is a local agency functional overlay, 1.5 inches of asphalt with some a wedge. Again, we're on a very tight time frame, and we're asking that Cummins Engineering finishes what Jimmy and Josh had going. Bottom 3, January letting.
Questions?
Next fiscal year.
Motion?
I'll make the motion.
Carl moves, Andy seconds. Mr. Clerk?
Patrick. Yes. Bruner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnham.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
McCarty.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. Next, we come to the portion of the meeting, Finance Committee to discuss 25-26 budgets. Mr. Treasurer,
What do you want to
Well-
do?
might describe what we got in front of us.
Okay, you have 2 reports. One is your typical fiscal year 26 that I've handwritten in. It just shows so far up through today's date. The only thing that's,
February 28th, right?
February 20. Well, you have to run the report at the end of the month. So I'm saying the only thing this doesn't reflect is the current demand checks that haven't been closed out. so I don't.
So we don't have one as of January, or 31st.
Well, yes, but this includes the board meeting and everything, so this is the most up to date, other than the demand batch that is currently open right now.
Okay, then what we probably need, in other words, is some of the folks, and this is my fault, in order to look at how we're doing at the point of time, in other words, they could divide, if we've done it through January 31st, then they could divide that by 2 and multiply it times 12 or times 6, and they know whether we were on budget. Right now, we can't tell because,
Well, right, but we're so early in the fiscal
Yeah,
year that I
only a month
don't.
or two, yeah.
well, but,
I know what you're saying, but I understand what Don's saying.
well,
too.
we talked to the thing is, like on the sheriff's department, where it's really critical.
Right, that's true.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's the one I'm really looking at,
Right, yeah.
where we can divide by 2,
Yeah, I-
and we can see where we're at, and whether we're spending too much money on certain items. Because that's our big leak
Right,
this past several years, has been the sheriff's department. And somehow, we've got to get control of that. It's just
Yeah.
imperative.
yeah,
Am I overstating it, Carl?
no,
It's been like that ever since I've been on here.
yeah.
Well, don't think it's your fault, Andy. It's probably not, but, you know.
I'm sorry, Don. It ain't, go ahead.
You want your back.
That's, we discuss it all the time.
Okay, so, because there's a little miscommunication here,
That's my fault.
this is just up to this minute, other than the demand batch. Your other report, and if we would have been on the same page, I would have ran it. Well, I don't know how the software would have done it. But anyway, it shows 3 years. Fiscal year 23, 24, and 25, and then the 25 budget. So at least you can compare those 3 years, and you'll see that at the end of the report, we've got it the past 2 years as being ahead, or not ahead, in the good by $20-some thousand. Well, that's us. That isn't the auditors. Last year, we kind of got, I don't want to use the word screwed, so I'll think of something else, but you know what I'm saying here. They shut me off on doing some accruals that would have had an impact on our bottom line. So our audit does not, last year's audit does not really go hand in hand with what we had within our internal software. Now, having said that, well, this year we're showing basically 22,000 to the good. I don't know what they're gonna do once they, I've done the accruals, and it just seems like every day that goes by, something else pops up and I have to rush and fix it, accrue it. But we're at the point now that I've got to get this stuff to the auditors so they can start putting our audit together and still have it to us within 180 days at the end of our fiscal year as the state requires. And we need to do that so that everybody's happy. The bond people, everybody that looks like we're on schedule on everything, even though it's not unusual to get an extension. Anyway, what do you want me to do?
We did have a pre-meeting with the auditors about the issue of not catching the accruals last year. And they have promised and said that they would address that so that they may catch up on the accruals on the audit.
Yeah, whatever they haven't shown, and let's just be honest, revenues and or expenses last year, they may make adjustments within this audit. I don't like it, but that's, meaning, I wish it could have been properly done last year. But, which brings me to, I need to make a few points here. As you well know, I'm throwing the towel in, as they say. I'm not gonna go sit at home and watch TV and whatever. I still need to be active and do something. It will not be in an elected office. It won't be in an appointed office. It's just gonna be doing what I need to do otherwise. Having said that, I will be around as a consultant, something to help. Not gonna do it for free, but I'm also not gonna, I don't have the intent of milking the county for every time I get called or asked for a little bit of assistance on some of this end of year stuff that's gonna be going on. If I did not have an accounting degree, this last 20 years would have been a lot more challenging. It has come to the point that it is not a good old boy or girl position. You have to be hands-on, and you gotta be able to do some of this accruals, journal entries and stuff, and to move forward. We made the decision, or the board made the decision years ago when I started in 2006, when the auditing firm at that time was doing our budget prep, or our budget stuff that we do internally now. And we made that transition where, since I had the abilities and the software, we saved money. And we saved even more money with me doing the accruals. What did they say it was gonna cost if we had them do the accruals? I think it was $6,000 to $8,000, okay? I realize some people would call that chump change, but if you think about how many years I've been doing the accruals, we're probably looking at $70,000 to $80,000 savings just right there. I think you're gonna have to pay the piper now, at least for 1 year. I think when these auditors are asking for stuff next year, you better let them do the accruals during this transition year, because for me to be around to even help the next treasurer absorb it and see how things are done, I don't know that we'd be able to meet the deadlines that the auditors want. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm underestimating the next treasurer's abilities, because I really don't know that much about her. And there I am putting the cart before the horse. She's not got it yet, because there's still a mechanism, Mr. Clerk, where somebody else could throw their hat in the ring. But right now, it's almost like the writing's on the wall, and I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way. I would say this regardless of who the incoming treasurer's gonna be. This is just an unusual situation where it looks like maybe it's already been decided. I'm not going to encourage the person to come in for 6 months, be there. I'm not gonna encourage and make this person a part-time employee as a learning paid position. I see too many flags coming up that would not be good. I'm being very protective of my staff that have had my back for years, and I don't want there to be anything that jeopardizes the relationship between my staff and the incoming treasurer before they're even treasurer. I'll let you guys connect the dots after that of being very cautious. What else? Just so everybody knows, I still have a love for numbers, and I will be there. If after the time comes, you want me to come to a meet, I don't know why you would, but if you want me to come to somewhere and have a discussion and whatever, I'll be there. I'm not gonna start traveling the world, ever.
You sure?
I'm sure. Any questions or comments? I know you don't see me very often. I've kind of become a hermit for miscellaneous reasons, but I am looking forward to being more available for my newest grandsons and stuff like that. So, anything?
Yeah, can you go ahead and repeat everything that just happened?
Sure.
No.
I don't know why the state's attorney's here, but you know, no, I didn't. No, you didn't miss much, Phil. Just the challenge ahead of us. I know your office has no challenges, right? Like lawsuits and,
On this one sheet, it's got 23, 24, 25, and 25.
yeah. That 25 is just our budget, that last column.
So that, okay,
What we budgeted and
Yeah.
total.
See, usually you only see those last two columns.
right.
and
So,
that-
so like on the 23, turn to page 11, sheriff, but,
Ooh, yes. I'm on page 11, sheriff, end of sheriff.
so on 23, the first column is what he actually spent that in 23.
And you know, I'll be honest with Carl, I didn't look at these numbers that close, but when you look at fiscal year 23, he was spot on.
Mm-hmm, right.
No, yeah,
Pretty close.
or what was, no, I don't know what his budget was.
Well,
Yeah, you
anyway,
don't know.
anyway, so 24 is the 2.2 million. The 25, he spent 2.4 million. So this 2.093, what is that? That's not what he budgeted.
That's the,
Budgeted
that was what he budgeted
in 25.
for
In
25.
25.
So in,
Okay,
basically 350, I'm just rounding numbers, 350,000 over.
yeah. See, I don't have what, I think it's 2.4 this year, but I don't have the figures in front of me.
2.4 on what he's budgeted.
Yes.
On the other
Oh,
report,
on the other one, maybe
Yeah,
it's on
the
there.
other you do.
He's budgeted
yes, no,
2.42.
yes.
Okay, all right.
two,
Okay, now I can,
Yeah, I guess I did. Well, this doesn't,
it's the third column on page 10, if I'm reading
yeah,
your report
that,
correctly.
that looks right.
well, yeah, 'cause it's 2.4, but then there, he gets some credit somehow, but, you know, I'm with it now. Okay, I understand now.
This
Oh,
is-
yeah, he gets the court security.
Right,
Now, remember also, and it's not part of it anymore, but I think at one time it showed a credit for the dispatchers, but now they just put that directly into the general fund, cause that's where the money came from
yeah,
anyway.
okay, all right. Okay, I understand it.
Okay,
Thank you.
yeah.
I think, as of March, well, at the March meeting, well, at the study session before the March meeting, if we could get a copy or a report that shows in 26 where we're at as of February 28th. Okay?
Meaning just like this, but it'll show the demand batch, and that'll mean December, January, February, 3 months.
3 months.
25% of,
Yeah, we don't want anything in March that might have been paid.
okay, well, that won't be a problem because we'll be closing this batch out within the next few days.
I realize that.
I don't
So,
know what you're doing, I think the calendar, but
well, Saturday is the 28th,
probably gonna be closing it out Wednesday,
okay?
so I have time to move monies.
Okay. But I think that's, every month, that would be helpful to have it reflect the previous month at the end of the month. And that way we would be able to know exactly where we are on the budget. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah, good.
Does that make sense to you folks?
Yep.
And that way we could we could see what line items are,
Okay, so normally I just give you a report that is up through the board meeting.
right.
So you'll be getting one through the March board meeting, and then also another report through the end of February,
Right,
so that you can compare apples to apples, okay?
correct.
Got
If
it.
that's okay.
I'll kill a few trees, don't worry about it.
And this material would be helpful, I think, for you to study and look at where we're at. As far as 25, just to run down departments, just so you'll know, and you don't have to unless you want to mark it on there. If this is the 25 budget,
Page 4.
well, I don't,
Oh, you're on.
I'm on a different.
25 or 26?
This is 25.
Okay, they don't have one of these.
They don't have one of these.
Okay. But they do on this part.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
There you go.
So you can mark it there. The county clerk was +3. The treasurer was +9. And I'm just rounding these folks, okay? Circuit clerk was +1,
And when you say +9, what's that mean?
9,000.
Okay.
+9, these
Over.
are thousands, yes,
Oh.
over.
Not percent.
No, I'm sorry, these are, I'll start again. Sorry.
3,000 over in the circuit.
3,000
clerk.
over for the circuit, county clerk. Treasurer was $9,000 over budget. Circuit clerk was $1,000 over.
Yeah, we've got that. If you look at, on this.
Do you have it there?
Yeah, if you look at this report that has 23, 24, 25, the last two columns,
Okay,
column 1 is fiscal year and column 4 is what we budgeted. So
Okay,
if you
cool.
look there, like on
You
page
got it.
6,
Okay, I didn't know.
your, the county treasurer, they came in at 184,302, but we budgeted them at 193,784.
I'll take that difference in the check, please.
Okay, and of course, the sheriff, that budget, now, want to tell you that the board did add 2 personnel, okay? They added a telecommunicator to the budget after the budget was created. And then we also added a deputy. So we added 2 personnel to the 25 budget after it was already produced.
The 25 budget.
The 25 budget.
Right, okay, yes.
So even though,
Yep,
so you'd have to basically take, what would you guess, 120,000?
pretty close. 20 to 30.
So that would mean the sheriff was still over 230 grand. Okay? So those, and remember, the only thing we do to the sheriff's budget normally when the committee reviews it is to look at, make sure the personnel, we don't touch personnel normally. We look at like automotive, like this past year, we knocked out any purchase of new vehicles for this year that we're now in. So the sheriff submits his budget, and I think we only cut, what, I don't know, 80 grand out of it, something like that. So the budget usually doesn't get touched a whole lot, but the budget is still blown. So the sheriff's the one that comes up with how much overtime he's gonna spend, how much part-time officers he's gonna spend, and all the other things. So, I just
Well,
bring,
if you look at courthouse security line item, I'm on page 10,
Yeah.
about midway through. Courthouse security, they budgeted 32,4 and they came in at 71,4.
right,
That was another one though that got increased after the budget was created, right?
we didn't increase it. We didn't take any official action to increase that or agree with that. We questioned it, and he just said we had to do it. And
Didn't
we,
that have to do with though deciding to have security the whole time the courthouse was open?
well, it wasn't, we weren't given the choice, he just did it.
Okay.
And a lot of it was predicated, we're told, by the fact that the departments had asked for
The people in the
courthouse.
courthouse, they
Felt
wanted
not
increased
secure.
amounts.
So when I look back on page 9, right before that, where we get reimbursed for court security, it looks like we were reimbursed 72,4 if I'm reading correctly.
Correct.
Where does that reimbursement come from? Out of what
That came
fund?
out of court security fund and 800 fund.
You know, that thing that Don gives us every month, there's a line for, court security, or I don't know whether, they're,
And what
There's like 3 or-
feeds that fund? What puts money into that fund?
This courthouse security,
Mm-hmm.
probably monthly revenues from the,
through the
court.
circuit clerk.
Yeah,
through
fines and
fines and
penalties,
stuff. And I know she said that that's, from what it used to be, it's steadily decreasing, the
Well,
amount.
Yeah.
And, but the amount we're taking out is really going up. So in a few years, we're gonna run out of money, basically, what's
Yeah,
gonna
that's what I
happen.
was getting at, was
Yeah.
like
Right.
what's feeding it
Yeah,
to make us
Abs-
double that amount of,
Yeah, it's gonna run out in a few years, not very long.
I'm glad you brought it up before I did. That
Yeah.
means that you guys are aware of that,
Yep.
so. I mean, that's not an infinite fund. It's just something that, is available now, but it may not be in the future. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning.
Oh, and good morning, Philip.
Sorry.
Oh, Taylor, oh, look, place is filled out.
So why is that? Why is that when you say, are we spending money out of it that we didn't used to spend out of that?
Yeah, we didn't really hardly ever spend anything out of it.
Last couple of years, we pulled
We never had,
20,000 or
So
so.
how is that reloaded, I guess?
Well, we just.
court
through-
fees,
Court
court,
fees.
Yeah, but I mean,
But it's not like it used to be, so there aren't as many court fees. So it's not recharged like it was. So at some point, you're gonna have to come up,
well,
you're gonna have
that's what
to
I'm
sit
trying to.
down with the sheriff and work out a plan, a long-term plan on how that's gonna be handled.
Meaning the courthouse security paying for it.
Or
or just come out of the
somehow,
general.
some other fund,
Yeah,
or whether it's gotta come out of general.
probably general, quite honestly.
And not to interrupt, but I think it was my understanding before that the judges have some of the discretion over how those funds are
True.
spent, correct?
The sheriff
Yeah.
and the judges,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, cause they've used some of that money to improve stuff in the courtrooms and stuff,
Yeah.
yes.
Cameras and stuff like that, I
Right.
believe in the
Well,
past,
that's a
yeah.
separate.
And some of
fund.
us, they've got grants for some of that, but
Right.
they've used some of that money for various different things in the
Sure.
courtrooms, yes.
but is there any, Matt, not to put you on the spot, because I know it's probably not your decision, but is there any, ongoing meetings or talkings between the sheriff and the judges? Like when I go through there, I notice at times that there are two, court security officers, and they may not need to at that time, so I know that there's probably times where there's somebody needed upstairs and somebody needed downstairs. Is there an opportunity for, like, let's say the investigators of the sheriff's department that are on day shift to go, monitor the courthouse versus paying for two? Is there any type of ongoing talks with the judge and the sheriff that you're
Yeah,
aware
I
of?
can't answer that for Jeff, I don't know, but
Okay.
I think anymore in there too, about all the time.
Sometimes three.
I was thinking, cause they thought one wasn't enough, and I was thinking it was two, I mean, I'm not there all the time, maybe you guys are there.
There's two all the time, I mean,
Yeah, I
I
think
would
now
say,
there's two
like-
all,
Cause one
And-
roams around,
yeah,
and if there's an incident, and they have to pull somebody up, then they wouldn't have anybody
right.
at.
And I think when they have court,
I
sometimes
think
there's
there's
three of
three or
them.
four, I
Right,
mean, yeah.
Right, depending
Just
on what's
looking at
going
the
on.
camera, I mean, I don't know their hours, I just,
Right,
when I,
I think most of the time there's two all the time now.
yeah.
They just felt like one wasn't enough. People up there, that's what they felt like.
I hate these terms the way it used to be, so I'm just, but I'm
Mm.
going off of reference for my own education.
Mhm.
Daytime deputies, investigators, chief deputies would go over on busy court days and provide some sort of backup assistance. Is that happening currently
I
with,
don't think so. No.
No.
No. You know, they,
Chief
I know
deputy
they're
goes
busy.
over sometimes, if
Yeah.
if they need someone. I know that James has been down there, he'll sit there first until they either get somebody else in or if they need to pull some. I think the deputies are strictly
yeah.
handling calls of service then, and then.
On a regular basis, no, they don't do that. You know, there might be special, what Phil said. First, and then the courthouse security, you know, that's part-time people, obviously, the cost compared to a full-time person is a lot different. Much less costly.
Well, this is gonna take some pouring over. Don and I have discussed it, I think I've discussed it with the board. it would not be appropriate for me to do it the way we've been doing it, and that's generate the budget with the help of department heads. Needs to be you guys that are gonna be here. And of course, how you wanna handle it with incoming people and incoming office holders, that's something else you need to decide too. Like Don, I'm available to help in transition, so that's not a problem if I'm wanted. If I'm not wanted, that's fine too, okay? So, but I am available. But I think it's really important that we start meeting on a regular basis to go over some of these things and start thinking about how we're gonna solve some of these problems.
I definitely would like to be involved in the budgetary process. I have another question on page 10, middle of the page, sheriff deputies part-time. We were budgeting them $25,000 in '25 and they spent nearly 70. Who gives the authorization for the hiring of part-time deputies? Is that strictly the sheriff or
The
do we
sheriff.
as the board?
The sheriff.
Yeah, we don't have any control over them.
Well,
I know we set the amount,
yes.
but how he does that, that's,
The bottom line, he is responsible for.
you know,
Once we pass the budget and we give him a $2 million budget or whatever it is, he has $2 million to spend, okay? If he thinks he needs, or she thinks she needs more part-time deputies, then they need to figure out where they're gonna get it in the budget, okay? Or, you know, that's their function. And so they need to set priorities, they need to figure out what, they triage, what's gonna happen and where their needs are, and discuss it with the board to make sure we know what's going on, but it's their responsibility to stay within that, any department head to stay within the budget that they're given. Period.
And then when you're setting the numbers from 25 to 26, what do you use for the calculation? Is it strictly, do you look at inflationary costs? Do you look at historical, using the back 3 years? Do you go back 5 years? Like what is your
Go
typical?
back several years. We look at where the state says they're gonna be on funding.
Okay.
We use departments to assess their needs,
Mhm.
okay?
Mhm.
And of course, with the sheriff's department, our labor attorney gives us actually the sheets that show what we're gonna be paying everybody. So it's just a matter of adding it all up. That
The
can
union
testify
contract.
to
Union
that.
contract, yeah.
you know, that
So-
determines a lot of it, you know, as far as the
Yeah.
salaries.
So we have nine COs, or correctional officers, we have 6
Dispatch.
telecommunicators, and we have 8 deputies. And then we have, so those are all union, and those are codified, and we actually have sheets from the attorney that shows us all the way through, 27, what we're gonna be paying them. Now, obviously, if we change personnel, we have to be flexible in that, but that still gives us guidance on where we need to be.
Where do you get your information on anticipated state income
Okay,
and
well,
requirements?
not only, that's a very good point, because in 25, you notice, let's see,
Yeah.
we dropped off in local tax. You see local use tax?
Yeah.
See, we dropped off, we were collecting, if you go back into the,
previous 2 years, 217.
Yeah, it was two
and
seventeen,
190s.
196, and then went down to 56.
But they instead, and I reached out to Chapin Rose's office and said, what gives?
Yeah.
And they said, well, sorry, the state legislature moved to reduce that amount, but they're gonna make it that amount with the supplemental, which is just above it, 4110.
Okay.
And you can see where we were getting, what, 300,000, or I'm sorry,
560.
560, and it went up to 805.
Okay.
So we did increase there. But then you go down to personal property tax, which would be 4160, and they couldn't answer why we were getting less money, but everybody was getting less money. See, we were getting 284, or, well, I don't know what's local use, let's see.
We got 507,000 down to 310, down to 232.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
So that one I can't answer, that was a surprise. Obviously, that's an issue. But sometimes the communication from the state is not great, and you can't necessarily use trends from the past to guarantee what you're gonna get. Because like on local use tax, I mean, it was just, in April of last year, I mean, it just dropped to nothing. It dropped from, what, 19,000 down to 35, $4,000. And I had to call, and it took Chapin's office about 2 or 3 weeks to research what had happened.
So Chapin's office is your resource?
Yes.
So what had happened?
Well, the state legislature had changed how they were doing things. But then they made it up by increasing our supplemental sales tax. Whatever
It's a
reason.
shell game.
So prior to that, Don, we hadn't seen a lot of variance, had we? I mean, the last,
Well, it had gone from
Well,
507 down to
specifically look.
310.
well,
I know you always did.
Well, on the personal property. On the local use, not a ton, but
At one time, we averaged 42,000 a month on personal property tax. Then it went down to 25 on the average, and now we're down to 20. And you want to think, well, is it going to go down to 15? To me, whoever's doing this planning, I mean, you need to be very conservative. Not that you weren't before, but I'm a pessimist. I just see it getting worse. And that's not fair to you guys, but I'm not an expert on this, but I think the writing's on the wall. I think that's what Jeff's trying to make sure you stand on top of.
well, we need to study this and get back together, maybe this time next month or sometime, and then answer more questions and talk about strategies. Maybe we need at some point to pull the sheriff in and talk to him about it, see where, especially after we've had a chance to review where he's at for the year. Once we get the March, or the February 28th information, then we'll know where we got problems, if any.
And I know everybody's aware, we've been talking about the joint dispatch. You know, I've talked several times with the current sheriff, who's just really doesn't want to get involved in it. And I know we've got a 911 meeting this afternoon, and we talked about getting together and getting everybody's heads together and get a plan, but I think we're going, obviously at this point in time, next month, we have an election. And we pretty well know who's, after the election, who's gonna be the new sheriff. And once that happens, you know, the new sheriff needs to get involved in a lot of this. You know, not only this, the budgetary stuff, but, you know, this joint dispatch, and we'll have a big powwow and with the new sheriff, and start, gets things started on working towards the joint dispatch. Because there's no sense doing it right now, under the current things.
It's just weird to think who's gonna be sitting at this table a year from now.
Yeah, there's 3 people right here won't be here,
I don't even know why you.
potentially 4. So, you know,
We've
there's
got a hard road ahead of us.
got a new, there's gonna be a lot of new faces around, you know, your office. You know, a lot of the important stuff, there's gonna be new players. So it's,
Well, I know that Jeff and I have had lots of interaction over the years when we're budget time and stuff, but, it's time consuming, you gotta be on top of it, and then there's the frustrations of dealing with, trying to stay consistent with other departments, trying to keep your pay level. It is not a fun time as far as I'm concerned, and, but somehow we've come out of it.
We haven't pissed each other off too much over the years. I almost had a stroke in his office though the other day. He gave me the year-end figure, and I'm sure he can come up with an antidote to this too, but he gave me a year-end figure which included 27 payrolls instead of 26.
you know,
I told you that? I don't remember. Is there, I thought it only happened on leap year. Oh, I know what you're saying. Yeah, when I did a journal entry for this January of this year, I inadvertently put 2025, which added an extra payroll, so I made his day.
I didn't have a stroke, I didn't say much, and you finally called and said a couple of days later, hey, just for your own information. And I'm going,
Should have blamed my staff for that. They didn't do a thing.
yeah, why don't you try that?
Yeah.
At any rate,
Oh, that's, speaking of that, you know, we've had 3 years of Paycom. We started in January of whenever, and 3 years. So initially, oh my God, it was miserable for everybody. Now it's finally, you know, coming together. Nancy is that she's the one that deals directly with Paycom and with IMRF, and so to me, in my eyes, things are working out, and I don't see Nancy leaving. But three years ago, they needed guidance on how to assign all these expenses. And I gave them an example of a transaction history that had every line item, everything on it like you see here, but just on the payroll side of things. And I ended up having to do it for them several months later, after just digging my heels in for so long. It was getting to be, it was just becoming more of a challenge to put it off any longer. So I do these journal entries every 2 weeks on a payroll. The journal entry is just 6 pages long, looks just like this, where I assign each and every expense for overtime, everything. The problem is I have to do it basically by hand with another report. It takes me uninterrupted an hour and a half. Oh no, that ain't that bad. It didn't start out at an hour and a half. This has been a learning curve. They designed a template that could be imported in after I helped them. And after a few times of importing it in, I could never balance. Well, it doesn't take the oddball stuff, the adjustments kind of thing. It's, you know, you create a template, there it is. But when you have something that's, let's just call it double overtime or something out of the blue, or holiday pay for part-timers that they do deserve based on prorated hours, it took me too long to figure out where the problem was, so I just do it myself, and I've been doing it for 3 years. Push has come to shove where I'm gonna have to have that conversation with Paycom. I am not looking forward to it, because I lost my cool a few times on the phone with them. I'm just out of frustration. So they're kind of leery of me. Oh well. But I'll do my best to get that template as accurate as possible so that the new treasurer can at least make the decision to import it in. But it's not gonna be a walk in the park. It's just not gonna be, but I'll do the best I can to get everything up to date. I also plan on I'll talk with everybody about getting a shred truck in. I've got boxes and boxes to get rid of, and there's just a lot that I'll be doing, and I'm gonna shut up.
The transition period will be interesting. For example, we still do year-end transfers into February,
And we get state payments coming in up through February that are up through the end of November.
right. So there's all kinds of little pitfalls of things that can happen, and things we haven't even thought of that years ago we solved, and we don't even know that they exist anymore, because they come to us automatically, so.
Well, and I'll just give a quick example. The city staff walked into last week, had a check for me. I'm sitting back in my office and I get called out there. And I go up to her, it's Brooke from the city. So they got a check for you. I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go. She hands me a check for $885,000. And after I steadied myself, and she explained what it was, these two TIF districts we have, Jasper Street and then downtown, every year, and I'm not trying to throw them under the bus, I'm just saying what it creates for us. It's supposed to be done every year. It's a transfer of surplus funds from the TIF. And everybody within that taxing district gets a prorated amount.
School
Well,
district, the county,
So-
fire, whatever.
Yeah, so it represented 9 years, let's just call it 100,000 a year, that should have been coming annually. Well, we get 9 years at once, okay, no. But then I think, okay, I have to accrue this. So how did the county, I did the breakdown, gotta think about this. The county, of course, has public health department, mental health, all these highway. So it was 96,000 that we all got, the county in general got 27,000. Well, that's a good shot in the arm. It's an accrued amount because it happened before December 1, as far as what it was for. But for me to sit here and say, you guys can count on 25 grand a year in surplus funds from the city, I can't do it. Because I don't know that that's what it's gonna be, but 25,000 is a good that's somebody's salary, kinda, without the benefits. So anyway, there you go.
That's just one of,
Yeah, things that
Hundreds
just
of things.
pop in,
uh-oh, you get him going.
air vac, it was a good thing. Everybody's happy, I think everybody it was an advantage or a win-win. The county pays for it up front. It was around 10 grand for everybody. And then a payment plan was set up through Paycom where employees could pay it over several pay periods to make it easy on them. And so that happened. And as I'm making end of year adjustments, I'm looking, why does my payroll clearing have 10 grand extra in it in this one line item? It's because the county paid for it. That was required up front. The employees reimbursed it to the county. And then finally, I catch it that we need to cut a check from payroll clearing to the county as a with a reimbursement, 10 grand. Okay, 10 grand is 10 grand. I'm sorry, it's not something we can just, and that just keeps, it goes on from December 1 till last week. Constant little things that we catch or we stumble over and say, oh. Anyway.
Perfect examples, huh?
Yeah, and I can think of more, but you all have other things you need to do, so.
Further questions right now? I'll go home and take this down and take a look at it. We'll get together next month, or depending on where we're at. Okay, we discuss it. Discuss it the next study session. First one of the month, and then we'll decide whether we're gonna get together at the end of the month at our next study session on this. And then start rolling up our sleeves and figure out what we need to do. Okay?
It bothers me that the county clerk hasn't.
If you don't wanna hear what I have to say.
Hope that wasn't directed to me.
Yes.
Is this gonna be the end of your regular study session then?
No, this is the regular meeting. We have a special meeting right now.
Okay.
We're
Get ready
gonna
to-
adjourn this
Okay.
here in a minute, and then we'll go into study session.
Okay.
And then, if you have something you wish to address at that.
I have a personnel issue that needs to probably be discussed in closed session.
Okay, that's fine. No problem.
Me three.
You're it or what?
No, me three. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Matt wants to talk about me. It's possible.
He does all the time.
It was a joke. All right, is there anything else? I think we've covered everything on the agenda for the special meeting. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please? Russ moves, Andy seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. We are adjourned. We'll go-
I guess.
Okay. Mr. Lusader, do you have a report or anything you need to give? Or you
Nothing
just-
for you this morning.
You're just a placeholder here
A humble
today?
guest.
A humble guest. Do you have anything, Taylor, that you wish to address other than the closed session?
Well, I lied. I'm throwing stuff. I do have my quote on paper, which still has some, some outstanding, quotes to be given to me. Central Square's coming March 6th or 9th.
Is this for the transition over across the road?
Yeah,
Okay.
Central Square, let me look at my calendar. They're coming the 12th, to do their on-site visit, and then I'm guessing they'll probably be able to give me a quote on what they're gonna charge me to move. But I don't have a quote from Central Square or the UPS people yet. The only thing that I guess would probably be like negotiable on there would be the intercom, which is how we communicate with the city.
What do you mean negotiable?
If we could find another way to do it, that's the best that Brad could come up with, cause right now it is a copper line that runs from the jail to the city. That's how we dispatch the police department. Now, we talk about joint dispatch, that can maybe go away, but we don't have that information yet.
And that's the seven.
That's the
7,000.
7,000, yeah. But everything else on there is
And the 70,000 is rebuilding.
the connection with the state so we can get 911 calls. They are looking at other options, other vendors, but that is what they've given me
From Frontier.
from Frontier, yeah. which is who like our connection is made with Frontier and then AT&T and then Central Square and then it comes to us.
Central Square is all the not the radio equipment, all the stuff that makes
911,
911
yeah.
stuff work.
Mhm.
Right. And is Brad, has he had any figures on,
That's the MCA,
up on top?
yeah.
Okay. So this, all right. Okay, got
Never heard it referred to as copper line, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
A hard line does.
Okay, is there any public comments this morning for the study session? Hearing none. Andy, do you have anything? Dan?
I just been looking for the dog on Austin. I haven't seen it yet. Every day I check. I think it's somebody's pet that they let out the pot and probably went back in the house, so. Been down every day for 2 weeks,
The ghost.
sometimes twice a day.
I directed that lady to the
Have not seen the dog.
city council meeting, so
Do what?
I thought she should, if she had a complaint with the city
Yeah.
ordinance stuff, it was really, should have been pointed towards the city council. I don't know if she went to the city council meeting, I gave her all the dates, Craig's personal phone number.
Wow, and this is on tape? Oh, this is good, Phil.
It's kinda like the guy that walked into town and was looking for the sheriff so she could shoot him. And the deputy says, well, he's right over there. Oh, thanks a lot. Russ?
I have nothing.
Augie?
Just something interesting. Of course, we pay the Ameren bills that come through my office. And this last bill for the courthouse for December was $10,000+. So I asked gals to look up what it was a year ago, and it was a little over 5,000. I said, go back and double check and make sure that we're comparing the right months and time frames, because sometimes it's never the exact same date, but it is. And I just wanted to let you know that. Just wanted
Well,
to let
thank
you know.
you, Augie.
Yeah.
Dang, employees have the thermostat too high, don't you think?
Well, look at your
No.
kilowatt usage and see if it's about the same.
Is the
Yeah,
people that are on Ameren here in town, are your bills going up quite a bit like that?
Yeah.
Are they?
200 and 900. This is, I am on camera, this is the governor's ploy to get people to go solar so that he can profit from solar. He
They're
signed
asking
the
for another
third,
increase too.
he signed the third ComEd increase
Increase.
since his time in office here in January. We haven't seen that increase yet.
Right.
It'll go up again.
Are yours in the country going up too? You on Interstar?
No, I'm not on
My
Interstar.
line.
Yeah, I'm on Interstar. I have noticed no big jumps like that.
Mine went
Yeah,
up
same.
considerably this
Yeah,
last
same.
month. I don't know if that's,
We were cold.
normally January is not that much. I'm
Mhm.
usually closed and Christmas lights are off,
Mm-hmm.
but that's the highest January bill I've ever had.
And you're on Interstar.
I'm on Interstar.
Hmm.
It's $900 a month.
The supplier, so everybody buys their power right from ComEd or whatever, and that they jack that. They put no cap on that.
Yeah.
Carl, do you have anything? Samantha?
Philip, you got some emails from me
Yes.
yesterday. That was the animal control ordinance from Clark County, Douglas County, and Champaign County. So if you could take a look at those and pull what you feel maybe best would help suit, or if you would like for me to do that, I would like to get a proposed ordinance in front of the group to help our deputies. Thanks.
Anything else, Samantha?
Nope, that's it.
Lisa?
Vermillion County, Illinois, Department of Animal Regulation and Shelter. I know we have talked in the past about, we were a bit limited on grants for the animal shelter because it is a county office. But so is Danville's, Vermillion County's. And they got a grant from the Rachel Ray Save Them All grant from the Best Friends Animal Society. So,
For how much?
it wasn't a lot. But they ended up using it to make a pen for people to, a secure place for people to come visit. So it's worth investigating. So Dan and Russ, I will send that to you, so you have it. I had a conversation with somebody, just it's one of those fact-finding ones that I get every week or two on solar. Nothing to report there. Josh isn't in here. I don't know if that conversation communication has taken place yet regarding the folks who are gonna do the Whitetail Farm, which is the one down on 16. They had some questions about road use agreement. But I have communicated with Josh about that.
And what is this?
The solar project on 16,
Oh.
Whitetail Solar.
So I think that's it for today.
Okay. Why don't we go into closed session? There won't be anything decided after the closed session. We'll come back out and open up the session again and then adjourn. But if you wish to stay outside and wait for us, you're welcome to. Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion to go into closed session on personnel. Russ moves, Andy seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And
Okay.
okay, anything else come before the study session? Philip, I didn't call on you. Do you have anything you wish to discuss?
I have I talked to Second Sight Systems regarding the restocking fees.
Yes.
They provided me documentation showing that stuff was sent back. I said that we weren't gonna pay the original $13,000 for the restocking fees. And they agreed, they sent us a new invoice at half that cost at $6,600. And I did calculate based off what they sent me on documentation, and they're taking a loss on doing that, but it seems to be an
We
agreeable.
will take care of it, okay? Thank you, Philip, for handling that. Appreciate that. Anything else? Entertain a motion to come out of, or to close the
Adjourn.
adjourn. Yes, thank you. Carl, my mind is going 1,000 miles. And Russ seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.